Alrighty, boys and girls, here's some extra practice problems for Chapter 7, Section 1. First, let's take a look at classifying angles. Okay, boys and girls, go ahead and try and classify all four of these angles, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answers. Okay, kids, the first one, greater than 0, less than 90, acute. This one right here, a little bit bigger than 90 degrees, so it is obtuse. Remember, obtuse is greater than 90, less than 180. Right here we have a right angle. I know it's right because of that box. That box tells me it's right. And right here, less than 90, greater than 0, so we have another acute one. Let's take a look at some more problems. Okay, so next, let's try classifying each pair listed here as either adjacent, vertical, or neither. Go ahead and give it a shot. Press play when you think you have them all set. Okay, angles A and D are vertical. They are opposite angles and they're formed by the intersection of two lines. And I highlighted the two lines that had to intersect in order to make A and D. That way it's really obvious to you. If you cannot form those two opposite angles just by intersecting two lines alone, they're not vertical. Angles B and C are adjacent. They share a common vertex, share a common side, and do not overlap. Angles B and E are neither. They're not next to each other. They're not vertical angles also. There are not two lines that intersect, that create them. Angles D and E are adjacent for the same reasons as angles B and C. The other adjacent angles would be angles E and A, angles A and B, B and C, and C and D. Now, let's use what we know about vertical angles to solve for x in both of these problems. Go ahead and give it a shot. Press play when you're ready. Remember, vertical angles are congruent. That means they have the same measure. Okay, in question 1, we know that 120 degrees equals 2x degrees, therefore 120 equals 2x. We solve for this by dividing both sides by the coefficient 2, and we find that x has a value of 60. For number 2, it's very similar. We know that these two angles are congruent, therefore 65 degrees equals 3x plus 5 degrees. Therefore, 3x plus 5 equals 65. Now we solve the two-step equation. And we find that x equals 20. Okay, so in these problems, remember that a straight line is 180 degrees. Therefore, the sum of the two angles that make the straight line equal 180 degrees. Go ahead and solve for x in both of these problems. Press play when you're ready. So we know that these two angles, when added together, have to equal 180 degrees. Therefore, we get the following equation. And now we solve. And x equals 8. The second problem we do just as we did the first. 3x plus 5 degrees plus 85 degrees equal 180 degrees, a straight line. 85 plus 5 equal 90. See what I did there? And there you have it. If you could solve all these no problem, you have a pretty good understanding of this section.